Hey you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back to another Project Life Process video. So I actually have had this spread down on my desk for probably a week now, and I just haven't had the time to play with it. So I'm getting to it today. It's a few weeks after. I think I'm living week 31 right now, so it looks like that's what, like 3 weeks later. I just wanted to show you a couple of things that I was considering using as I've been thinking about this spread, or this week in particular, and then the supplies that I have. So this was a hard week in that my dog got bit by a rattlesnake, and so it was just really emotional for everyone. I had 2 kids that were gone all week, and they were pretty sad when they found out about it. Anyway, it was just an emotional week. So I'm definitely going to be telling that story. And so I pulled out what I have left, or some of the supplies from Allie Edwards. What is this? Tough Kit. In fact, maybe I'll even use that there. I like the colors a lot. So we'll see. And maybe I can even, I have a harder time with washi tapes. Maybe I could even use those washi tapes and the hearts. So we'll figure it out. I'm really wanting to use this. I was thinking that I had more of the cards in here because I kind of wanted to see what cards she had. But I'm going to grab over my Allie Edwards cards. These are all of the cards that I have from her. These are probably, I think the first is Week in the Life. Oh, see, maybe this is, this looks like actually from that kit because it's the same color palette. So maybe, the story of this tough day, that's good. You can see that I pulled this hard day out. This came from the Week in the Life kit. I did that, I think last week when I was anticipating telling that story. Just pull out the stack here. So I think those may be the only ones from her kit, just the Tough Kit. So we'll see. Hello Today. I don't know if I have enough. I know I have enough stories, but I don't have as many 3x4 photos this week. And also this was the week of Week in the Life as well. This was the week of my 12 of 12. And actually I might use that also. Here's the story. That's a good one. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. So I might also, and this week was also the week of my 12 of 12 project. So I don't have that printed. You probably won't see it here, but I feel like I took a lot of photos that day. And so I don't know that I took a lot of pictures the rest of the week, and particularly because it was really just me and my daughter Megan most of the week. But of course, like always, I do have stories from this week to share, so I might be sharing some or using some of these cards because they definitely work. So, all right, let's just get started.
All right, you guys, so I'm setting that aside for just a minute so I can deal with my photos. I find it easiest to figure my photos out first. If you've watched my videos for any good amount of time, you'll notice that this is the first thing I do just because I like to know where everything is going first. It really helps me to figure out what I want to do with the rest of the album, spread, and then how many more, how many spots I have for journaling cards and, what I want them to look like. So I really just like to get my photos in place first. So that's one of the reasons why that is the first thing that I gravitate towards. The next thing that I'm going to do is then finish up these photos. So what I normally do is I normally have a big stash. Either I've got some already made 3x4 cards or I have some scraps. So I will grab those over And then I will either cut the 3x4 in half. So I'm not using an entire 3x4 card. It works awesome. And then I just add some adhesive to it and then trim it up so it's 4 inches, and it really works awesome. And then it's saving me on paper, and that's definitely what we're all about, right? Okay, so I'm definitely streamlining this. I have found in the past, I've done it both ways, where I do one card at a time, or put the date, do the journaling, all that stuff. I find it so much simpler and a lot quicker just to do everything at once. So, all the cardstock first, and then the dates, and then the journaling. So that's really been beneficial to me. And I'm just writing a little synopsis. Obviously, it's about, 2 or 3 sentences about the photo, and specifically, what is the story? What is the reason why I've chosen this photo, and what story do I want to tell? So just a little bit more details about that. I've really enjoyed adding those little bits and pieces to my spreads each week. And then I pulled over that card. You saw that came from the Ali Edwards Tough Kit, and then just added the date there. And now I'm just going to start putting things in place and begin to move things around. So it was helpful that I already had an idea of some of the 3x4 either journal cards or filler cards that I wanted to use. So now I'm just trying to figure out where I want them all to go. And I've noticed lately that this is something that I'm spending more and more time doing. In fact, I just worked on, I think it was week 30 last night or yesterday. And I noticed that I moved things around quite a bit, and I'm not sure why that is, but for some reason I feel like I just have to get things just so. And that might be, I don't know. I'm wondering if that has something to do with recording them and putting them up live. Like, I feel like I want them to be a certain way, because I'm not that much of a perfectionist, but I do like it to have a certain feel. So I will change things around until I feel like it feels right to me. And I think, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I would do that whether or not I was putting that up on YouTube or just having it in my personal album, because it is something that I want to love and something that I want to look back on and enjoy. So, either way, I'm thinking that I would probably handle it the same exact way. Anyway, let's get back to the spread. I'm kind of rambling. So I'm looking at some stamp sets. These came from both Ali Edwards. So that Brave stamp set that I'm looking at right now, that actually was not a story stamp. That was just a stamp kit that she came out with, which is interesting because I think then maybe like a year or 2 later, she came out with the Brave story kit. So that is not the Brave story stamp. And then the other one was the Tough story stamp that went along with the kit that I'm using. And so I knew that that would have some sentiments that would be really useful for me with this spread, because it was a really tough week for, a lot of different, not a lot of different reasons, but for a few reasons I've already shared about our puppy. And so there was just kind of a tough week there. So I thought that that would have some really great sentiments. I stamped with Ali Edwards ink. It was, I can't remember, it was the blue ink. I'll have it linked below. I really thought that that would be great with the color that was in those cards, that blue. I think it's a really pretty navy. So that's why I decided to go with the blue instead of black, which I totally could have done, because you see the card that says, "Here's the story," that was printed in black as well. So I could have done either. It was just a matter of personal choice, I think. So then I'm pulling over some of these phrase stickers that also came with the kit. That's that same navy blue. I really like it, and I'm deciding whether or not I want to add or where to add. And you'll see that I don't actually do anything with them right now, though I'm trying to get a feel for what I want to do. I do end up using them towards the end. So you'll see that I'll pull those out and back out in just a minute. So one of the things that happens when I'm working on spreads is I'm trying to make up my mind. So specifically, I'm really trying to think about, if I want to use those phrase stickers or not. And I couldn't make up my mind. And so I set it aside and decided to do something else while I was thinking, which is to write that journaling. So that's why I went ahead and did that. So that's just one of the things that I end up doing while I'm thinking through the process of how I want things to go. So then the next thing I decided to do is I pulled over another set. This came from Studio Calico, and I think it was from a couple of years ago, and they teamed up with One Little Bird, and it was specifically for Project Life, and I think it might have gone with one of their classes or something. I can't now remember. It's been too long. So I know, unfortunately, it's not available, but it is a really great set. So maybe there would be some digital files. I'll look to see if there's anything that's digital on their website, but there may or may not be. So I decided to just do what it says is happening right now, or maybe it says highlights. No, I think it says happening right now. And so I'm just writing, three key things, three little stories that I also wanted to highlight that was going on. It might have things, I can't exactly remember, but it might talk about, where everyone was this week, since everyone was kind of in different places. That has seemed to happen a lot this summer, that everyone's kind of in a different place. But just three stories, just three little bits and pieces that I want to highlight. And of course, I'm trying to also, when I'm writing stories, focus on things that are fact-based, but also feeling-based. So some of this journaling is about feeling based about what happened to our puppy. And then some are a little bit more fact based as well. So I like to include both because I think that they're both really significant to our lives. And so I think it's important to include the good things and the bad things, and that all of them together make up this life that we have. All right. So I was trying to think about what I wanted to do for that last cards little, that 3x4 spot that you can see there. And I grabbed over this. I think that card came from Studio Calico, that pattern paper. And I'm sorry, well, at least the way I'm viewing this video right now, it's hard to see the pattern, but it's a really great pattern with some blues and greens. So it worked perfectly. And so I really loved it. I decided to put one of the phrase stickers on here. Instead of just sticking it right on, I wanted it to have a little bit of dimension. So I'm pulling over these foam squares or foam dots, and I'm cutting them so that they will actually fit the strip. And then I'm just going to stick it on there. And I think I'm trying to think if I think what I end up doing is, seeing if I actually like it before I peel off the adhesive. And of course I knew that I would, because I liked the sentiment. And like I said, I really liked that it was just raised a little bit. It just added that little bit of something that it needed. I think that sometimes that really helps when it comes to stickers, to raise them up. And I think that's one of the things that I really love about the chipboard embellishments, is that there's some dimension there. So that really helps to be able to do that as well. Adding the foam squares. All right, so I wanted to add a little something to a few of these photos that had some white space. And so I was looking through the stamps. I thought it'd be great to stamp a few things. So I'm deciding on what stamps I'm going to use. And I'm using the same stamps that I was telling you about before. And the one that I pulled out said, "Yes, I can." And then it has a rectangle around it. And I stamped it in white, and it just did not show up. And I'm not sure if it had something to do with the background of the photo, but it just didn't show up. So I went ahead and I grabbed over my ink, and I just stamped over it in black, and that seemed to work fine. It wasn't that big of a deal. You'll see that I end up having to redo that photo anyway for lame reasons, but I'll get to that when it comes up. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm stamping on a couple more, looking through this one. I think it says life in progress, looking through the stamps at stuff that would just really, go with the story, but would also go with what was going on that week. Like I said, I ended up spending quite a bit of time this week on my own. And so that's why that's why there's so many pictures of me, primarily because of the 12 of 12. And I always do take self-portraits during that time. But I also, I was just around. And so when I was taking pictures, I always think it's a good idea to take pictures with yourself in them, because you are a part of your own life, right? So that's something that I would totally encourage you guys to do, is to take pictures of you now and again inside your life as you're living your life. Because I think it'd be a really awesome thing to be able to look back on. So what I'm doing with each photo, or at least the photos that I'm stamping on, you can see that I've stamped and then I've gone ahead and I'm using one of the phrase stickers and just putting that on top. So I'm just adding a little bit more to the stamped area just to give it a little bit something more. So here's when I made the change. Now, when I was looking through the phrase stickers, what I realized was the photo that says life in progress, I really loved the phrase that I used on the other photo. Now, I cannot remember where my mind was when I did this, but when I'm watching over the edit, like I'm really shocked that I cut it out and I made that change. It must have been a significant enough difference for me that I wanted to make that change. So what I ended up doing is there was no way I was able to peel off that sticker. So I just cut it out and then I stuck it onto the photo and then ended up reprinting this photo and then stamping it again. Now, I would suggest to you guys never to do this because honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I could have found something that worked. And, maybe one of the things that I was looking for is a stamp that was more along the same size or something. I can't remember, but I don't know. Watching through the edit, I was a little disappointed that I decided to go ahead and make that change. Obviously, I don't care. I'm just maybe suggesting to you that it's not that big of a deal and you shouldn't ever feel like you need to make that change for seriously like a phrase sticker. But again, it's totally up to you. I think these Project Life spreads they can be very artistic. And if you want it to look a certain way, then I say go for it and never apologize and feel bad for how you want it to look. But also remember that we are not out for perfection. We are out for getting our stories told. And that's something that I need to remind myself as well. And then it brings me back to what I was talking about before. Would I have made that change if I wasn't putting this out on the internet? But I actually think that I would, because when I'm working on this, honestly, I'm not thinking of you guys, sadly. I'm thinking about what I'm doing and how I want it to look. So I think I would have done it regardless. But anyway, yeah, there you go. There's my 2 cents on that. So I just decided to stamp one more that said strong, and then put another sentiment in the bottom there. So I am completely done with this spread. I hope you guys were able to find some inspiration from this. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I will definitely get to them. And if you like what you saw, I would love for you guys to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for being here, you guys, and we will catch you in the next video. Bye.